your first academic appointment was at Wichita State, right?
It was. Mm-hmm.
Professor of sociology, right?
Well, and urban studies. I had a joint appointment and did a lot of work in and around Wichita. That was why I was brought out here.
Okay. And you met your wife at Wichita
I did,
State. How did that happen?
Well, her department was in Neff Hall, and I was in Neff Hall. I was really young. I was 24 when I got my PhD. So the people in my class were about my age, and so a lot of students would hang out in my office. And an older faculty member got angry that she couldn't study because the students were making too much noise in my office. So they moved me down the hall, out in the hall. So I had the only office in the department that was actually on the hall.
Okay.
And Deborah used to go out to lunch that way, and finally got a chance to meet her, and we got married the next summer.
So was it love at first sight?
It really was actually. She's Greek Orthodox. I am now, but I went to Easter services with her.
Okay.
Because I invited her out. She said, "Well, I have to go to Thursday service." I said, "Okay, well that's all right. Well, I'll go with you. I've never seen a Greek service." Well, she didn't tell me it started on Tuesday and ended on Friday. Really long services, and the priest came out of the altar at the end. We were the only people in the church. Everybody else knew better. This was a really long service. So at the end, the priest comes out and says, "Bring your fiance back." And she goes, "This is only our second date." He goes, "Yeah, sure," and walked away. And I started laughing to myself, saying, "Yeah, probably right." So it really was that way. And that's been 43 years ago.
Wow,
so,
43 years.
Yeah.
So then you come back to Wichita State and become president in 2012, and of course all sorts of great things have been happening. Let's talk about some of those. Maybe start off with the Innovation Campus.
Yeah, the Innovation Campus, we're trying to move away from that language now. We created, when you start something that's very different, you really have to give it a name for people to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started calling it the Innovation Campus so that people could hook onto it.
Okay.
And the whole idea there is that the future of higher ed is really focused on integration with the society beyond the university. The ivory tower will die. I mean, it just will. So what we've tried to do is to bring in businesses that will work with our students, businesses that have a probability of expanding to try to put more people to work in Wichita. And what we find is that the more you can get a student working on applied work, the more they understand what their lessons were about.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're doing book learning, and
Right.
maybe you know, maybe you don't. But the students who go through these internships and co-op placements and apprenticeships really do come back out and will tell you they really finally understood what they were really supposed to be doing. So,
Right.
And we're going to have. There are restaurants coming in. Fuzzy's Tacos has announced that they're putting a Fuzzy's in, so
Nice.
we're excited about that.
Yeah.
And we're going to try most months, unless the weather doesn't cooperate, to have an outdoor party
Oh, okay.
each month. We had one last Friday, and about 400 people showed up. So
Nice.
That one was pretty good for a starter. And,
it is.
We're going to try swimming the city. Oh, they work with us, but we're looking at possibly having a bonfire at the end of October.
Oh, okay.
And just have another party.
Nice.
So,
Let's talk about the YMCA. You guys recently got into a partnership with the YMCA to benefit students, right?
yeah. Again, what you're trying to do with this education model is to integrate the community and the university. So rather than there being these big boundaries, you want people to come to campus. You want that little 4, 5, 6-year-old to feel comfortable on your campus. And the reason sooner or later they're going to come to you, right? So, but this allows us to really expand the services to our students. About 90% of our students don't live on campus. They live in the community. And there's a Y near everybody. So if we had built a new recreation center ourselves, you'd have to come from wherever you were to the university to use it. By partnering with the Y, you can go to any Y anywhere. So if you live on the far side of town, you don't have to come back to work out or to get a little recreation in. So we felt as though, given the nature of the student body and given the nature of the need, that this partnership would be good for everybody.
Right. We're talking with Dr. John Bardo today, president of Wichita State University. It's October, and that means basketball season is around the corner.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the excitement the basketball program has brought the university.
Well, that's just been wonderful fun, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's really a one of those front porch items that people, no matter where you go, we were just talking about that a minute ago with somebody else, that no matter where you go in the country, if you have on a Shocker shirt, somebody knows you.
Right.
And I had it happen in Massachusetts, and I just had it happen in California. So it really has brought us to the public's attention. And it's one of those things that generally they're good kids, they work hard, they do it right, and got a coach who tries to do it right, so off we go.
So give us your forecast for this season.
Oh gosh, I have no idea. It's why he earns more money than I do. We've got a very athletic team. We've got kids who each have done well themselves, and so the question's going to be how they gel, right? And how long does it take them to know what the other person's going to do before they do it?
Right.
And they're predicting us about 4th or 5th in the conference. I think there's a shot at us being a lot better than that. But again, these are really untested kids that are going to get out there and play in front of 10,000 people. That's a little different than playing at a high school or prep school.
So a couple years ago, you had a tweet that went viral. You had a picture of a Wichita State football helmet. Let's talk about that for a second. I know that's a hot topic. What would it take to get football back at the university?
The issue for me, adding football back, if you're going to do it, you have to do it right. Yeah. Otherwise, it's actually a detriment rather than a help. And so there are costs to doing it. And everybody was excited about the helmet, but we didn't get anyone step up and say, I want to really do this. And so the excitement is around, I want to go, rather than I want to help pay for it. And so right now it's on hold. It will remain on hold unless or until there's some folks who come forward and say, hey, this is, we need to do this.
Right.
But the facilities alone are going to be over $40 million. And then even to run a lower level FBS program is probably $6 to $8 million a year. And then under Title IX, you'd spend some kind of money on women's sports. So it's a big bite.
Right.
And right now I think we're better off focusing on our basketball teams, focusing on baseball, softball, because we already are committed there, and then come back to football if and when the city goes, wait a minute, we really want to do that.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about some other exciting projects. Braeburn Square. Tell us about that.
Isn't that fun? Yeah. When you build an academic community, which is what we're trying to do there, you have to have places for people to do something other than work. And you also are trying to build a place where people in the community feel that they can come and that it's part of them too. So we built this little area out at 21st and Oliver that will house multiple restaurants. It has already a Shocker shop in it, so you can come in and get your shirts. But the whole intent is to find ways to blend the community and the university so that we could have impact beyond the campus.
Right. You're going to be dedicating a new boathouse on the river here in a few weeks as well. Let's talk about how exciting that is and activating the river corridor.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is just, it just feels right. It just feels like we're having a good time. We are going to be down there. We're excited about it. I haven't looked too far into it yet. That's a little far out for me because we have several things coming up before it.
Right.
But we also are looking at what we do downtown. Now that Wichita State University Tech is part of us, we're looking at how do we locate all of our programs where they can do best for the people. And there's going to be some things we think if the tour will be downtown, right in the heart of downtown, we hope. Yeah,
just great community outreach for the university right there. And about the Flats 2 project, more student apartments?
Yeah, what we've found is we've gone out and really kind of fixed the look of the university and focused our programs more closely on what people want. We're seeing students who are willing to come and live on the campus in pretty large numbers. So we opened the first version of the Flats, and this year we're about 22% oversubscribed. So we have a lot of triples out there that should be doubles. So there's another one now coming up for next fall. That'll have about 280 beds in it. We think it'll be full when it opens.
Wow.
And so we're just seeing a lot of interest from out of state, a lot of interest from out of area.
Yeah, very nice. We're talking with Dr. John Bardo today, president of Wichita State University. One more question for you, and that is, what would you tell a prospective student listening right now to persuade them to come to Wichita State?
I think my basic message to students is, number one is go to the campus. Okay, whatever campus you're thinking about going to, don't attend or don't plan to attend unless you visited it. What we know about people who are leaving high school and coming into universities is they tend to feel things more than think about things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel good on the campus, then follow up. If you don't feel good on the campus, don't come. And I tell them that, because if you don't, it's not going to get better. If your first trip is good, your second trip's likely to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it feels good to you, then don't go anywhere else, because we can offer you academically as good a programs as there are in the country. We are very focused on you getting out and in being applied and learning how to use what you've gotten. And if you want to be a philosophy major, maybe that application is writing a research paper and submitting it to a journal or submitting it for presentation. If you're an engineer, maybe it's helping Airbus design a new part to their plane. But the whole idea being that you really learn your material when you apply it. And then the other thing is we're developing a lot of new things that most universities don't have yet. My student affairs VP is working with the College of Applied Studies to create a minor in esports. And we are looking at putting out an esports varsity team.
Wow.
So, there's a lot of kids who like that stuff.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of excited about that. But honestly, if you want to know, to be part of something that's moving, Wichita State's your place.
Very nice. Great job.
I saw on the website, or I saw on your Twitter feed, this is the biggest freshman class in history.
Yeah,
Is that right?
3 years in a row.
Can we do
Wow.
a question about that, Dave, and we'll do an edit? Something like, it's this year is the biggest freshman class in
Right.
history. How do you explain the increase? Something like that,
Very
and
good.
then I'll edit it.
Sure.
So,
So this year is the biggest freshman increase in school history. How do you explain that, Dr. Bardo?
When I came back, I was at a university doing a similar job that was way out in the mountains of North Carolina, and you had to want to go there to get there. So I was able to learn a lot about how you get students, and had people helping me, and we ended up getting 50% more students, and by the time I left than we had when I got there. So the models are pretty clear. And so we've gone to a regionalized model where we're saying Wichita, to be successful, has to perceive itself as part of a network of cities that trade with each other and that can draw each other in. Dallas is the biggest dog in the region. So we're saying, okay, fine, and we'll focus a lot of attention on everything between here and Dallas. The regions have allowed us to do that. So if you live in the metro area of Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, or Kansas City, you qualify for in-state tuition.
Oh, okay.
And so we have people stationed there, we're working with them, and what we're seeing is that the kinds of programs we're offering, and what I was talking about with applied learning and the kinds of atmosphere we're creating on the campus, the students are coming. This is actually the third year in a row of having the largest class in our history.
Wow.
And we're at 1,606 freshmen this fall. We were running typically around 1,200 before we started this process.
Wow, that's amazing. Great numbers.
good stuff. I was going to ask him, what's your biggest challenge as president?
Sure.
Could we do something like that? Would
Sure.
you be up for a question like
Sure.
that?
What's your biggest challenge as president?
The biggest challenge, and it's common to higher ed. I've had the opportunity to testify this year twice in Congress about a lot of these issues, and because we're trying to say here that the world has changed and you have a choice of dying or staying with it and moving with the world. And I'm not really going to be the president who locks the door on Wichita State. So the biggest challenge is that the way higher ed is perceived in the country, budgets have been cut. People see it as a private good now rather than a public good. And so we have to figure out, how do we offer the best bang for the buck, keep tuition as low as you possibly can to make access for people, and at the same time draw the high quality people to teach and to do research that everybody else wants. And so that's really where the challenge is for everybody. And we're no different in that regard. Locally, our challenges really have to do with the fact that I think for a while, Wichita State was seen kind of as separate from the city, and that won't work. That can't work. Everything that happens nowadays has to be done in a systematic way. And what that really means is that we have to have partners beyond the campus if we're going to be successful. We have to understand what those partners need and how to get it to them. The old days of saying, well, you know, I'm going to send my kid to school and then they'll enter the real world when they graduate. The real world is every day, and that is a major change from when you and I were in college.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great,
Yep.
good stuff. I guess maybe if there's any final thoughts or anything, then we can kind of wrap it up. We are 20 minutes in. It's been great
Yeah.
so far. So
Anything else you want to
Fine.
mention?
I think the big thing, if you look at some of the work that's being done on Wichita and how to help Wichita grow, how to help Wichita get good jobs, good career paths for people, we have to have partnerships among all of us. And the data aren't very pretty. We know that manufacturing is going to robotize. We know that. We also understand that we have a very high percentage of engineers in this community, and no one really has sat down and said, okay, if you have that percentage of engineers, what can you do? So what we're looking at is how do we create an ecosystem in the community that we're part of, and we only be a part of it, but how do we create an ecosystem that takes the knowledge those engineers have and get it out into the marketplace to create better opportunities for our people. And I really do see that what we're trying to accomplish as an institution is to give people a ladder that they can climb up. We are not ever going to be the one that does it for you, because that's not what universities can do. But our intent, as I said in my opening address to folks, is there's a lot of us who are trying this now. We can lock arms and we can lift this community on our shoulders. And we really mean that. That's who we are. This university was founded in 1895 to offer very high quality education to the children of shop assistants, children of blacksmiths, people who might work at the post office. And when the institution opened, the second day, a bunch of guys got under a tree and wanted to create a football team. And they didn't have the money, so they went out and cut wheat. They harvested wheat. And in around 1905, one of the managers for the football team was sent down to pick up flyers from a printer. And the printer said, look, that team has a nickname, you don't, this looks terrible. And so he made up wheat shockers on the spot, an undergraduate student, and it stuck.
Yeah.
And so we are the people who teach wheat shockers. We're the people who teach the kids that have to go out and cut wheat or work in a milliner's shop, and that's who we've always been. There's nothing different about this. So that's who we are. We're not cutting wheat anymore. We're designing materials, we're creating new opportunities, and that's what they were doing back then. So we're really trying to be true to our mission. Right. And really work with the city. And what I always end these kind of things with, you know what, this is a great day to be a shocker.